National abortion ban, Tom Tiffany. Remind the people that a vote for Trump, a vote for Tiffany, is a vote for Trump. But with Democrats, we're going to legalize weed. With Democrats, we're raising the minimum wage. And with Democrats, we're going to make sure that working people have the things that they deserve to make sure that they're able to take care of themselves. So much of building community is rooted in care. Our campaign is not only rooted in care, but it's rooted in Wisconsin, where our progressive roots run deep. Stop imagining better, that they win. When we stop dreaming, when we stop building community, when we stop coming together to take care of one another. Remember that when we do the things to take care of one another, it is a deep act of resistance. But now we need to step it up once more. We need to make sure that we are electing Democrats down and up the ballot, that we are flipping the Senate, the Assembly, and making sure that we elect our first woman governor to the state of Wisconsin. So let's meet this moment with our movement. Let's show the world that this is not just about the money, but this is about the many. And when we come together, when this happens here in Wisconsin, they say, as goes Wisconsin, as goes the nation. We are going to transform politics. We are going to transform policies. And we're going to show the rest of the world that the people can reclaim our power.
This power is invested in the governor, but would you do whatever you can in your power to make sure that Elon Musk is held accountable for meddling in Wisconsin elections and also punishing Trump regime-related people for unconstitutional, illegal, and even war crime acts?
I will use every tool in the executive's office to make sure that we are not only holding Elon Musk accountable, but that we are prosecuting to the fullest extent of the law individual ICE agents who break the law, because I believe in the rule of law.
So divisiveness has been really difficult over the last 10 years plus, and that I think is making things more difficult for getting stuff done. But it's also a problem that is, it transcends our country and happens in every community, right? We have our bubbles and so forth. So do you have thoughts in mind about how to further build community across the political aisle and get the folks who are kind of not so sure about Trump, who maybe voted for Trump, get them to understand how the policies that we're talking about today will also help them and their neighbors and friends too?
When we're having hard conversations, especially with folks who may not always agree with us, it's so important to make it about the person you're talking to. What do they want? What do they want to see? What do they need? Because so many of us want a lot of the same things. Safer neighborhoods, good schools, good jobs, to be able to retire, to be able to go on a vacation. And I think that the solutions that we are presenting, the policies that are universal, being universal means that they help everyone. And right now, it's not fair that we've got folks who are working 2-3 jobs, paying their taxes, doing everything right, still getting squeezed, and it's not enough. When I talk to small business owners, I owned a small business for over 7 years. I come from the hospitality industry. I know about hustle, I know about hard work, I know about cleaning out that grease trap on Friday night with a 5-gallon bucket. But I remind folks that in our system, we have our smallest businesses paying higher tax rates, or more taxes, than some of our largest corporations. And we have some of our lowest income earners paying higher tax rates than millionaires and billionaires. So when we're saying tax the rich, this is about fairness. This is about making sure that people are getting their fair share from the work that they've done. I think there's a power in every conversation to be able to move policy. And if they're still not sure, remind them that the loud liberal from Madison passed a bipartisan bill with Republicans that had to do with race. I'm someone that wants to focus on not the slogans and the labels, but on delivering the solutions and willing to work with anyone to make sure we get that done. I think right now, more people are feeling incredibly stressed and vulnerable. Honoring that first, showing them a solution that there's a path. And it's so much of it is happening in Madison, in that capital. But when we have people in there willing to share power, willing to actually do good for the everyday people, we've got an opportunity. But when Democrats have power, we've got 2 years to make sure we pass the most transformative legislation so that people can actually feel that government can be used as a force of good. Folks have to feel that things can change. And that's why we're pushing for the biggest, boldest, transformative policies. And when in doubt, do it in a third space like a cafe, a dive bar. You'd be surprised the conversations that you can have at a library. I think a lot of it is acknowledging that things are pretty shitty right now, trying to find a consensus on kind of the condition first is usually how I approach most conversations.
I have quite a few friends who have medically complex children, and so they are, just their medically complex children are on Medicaid, specifically because of the King Beckett rule.
Yeah.
And one of the things Tiffany has said is that he's for sure going to get rid of that because there's no need for that. And they're very concerned with, the idealism of, okay, everyone should have affordable health care, but are we going to lose these, medical exemption type things? And they're very scared about that.
Please assure them that one of the ways we have to expand Medicaid and keep in mind with what's happening with the big ugly bill that Tiffany voted for is to make sure that the access to services and quality of services is not only maintained, but we want to make those more efficient too, to lower some of those barriers, some of the redundancies in being able to get that care. The state is sitting on over $2 billion surplus and $2 billion in a rainy day fund. It's raining right now. And I think that ensuring that people's people's access to Medicaid is as whole as possible is going to be a priority for me, absolutely.
So this past week, Governor Evers has been really disappointing in some of the things that he said. Do you feel similarly disappointed? When you win on Tuesday, do you think he'll come around? Do you think he'll need support in November?
The governor is a Wisconsin voter, and he's entitled to his endorsement and his vote. I think it's most important that we all remember that this election belongs to the voters, that we let the voters decide, and it's my job, especially in this 24-4 tour, to listen to the voters, to show up for the voters, and make sure that I'm earning every single vote that I can. And on Wednesday, there will be unity across Democrats, and I hope the governor joins us.
There are a lot of students in voucher schools right now. I'm a retired public school teacher, and I see money going out of this public school into the voucher system. If the state decides to drop voucher schools, what will happen to all the students that are in voucher schools then?
So our plan to phase out the voucher program is one of little disruption to the students. We start with making sure we reinstate the full caps so there cannot be more students enrolled in the program, and that it is that we also pass voucher transparency, which many property taxpayers across the state do not know how much of their property taxes are going to this voucher program. We want to pass that legislation statewide, build in the accountability and transparency measures, and make sure that the over $1.23 billion that is spent on the voucher program, we start making sure that we shift those funds into our public schools. And those students that are currently in those voucher programs, those schools will be responsible for making sure that they're able to provide that education. But we'll be working in partnerships with the programs, and ours is to end statewide Racine and then Milwaukee.
Can you speak to your plans for protections of trans rights? Yeah.
Trans rights are human rights. And like Governor Evers, I plan to veto any legislation that takes the rights and freedoms away from any trans person. I want trans folks to be able to live lives of joy, even boring lives if they want to, and stop being political footballs. I think it's important that the trans community, all communities here in our state, know that the governor has their back.
Two more questions.
So you said that as goes Wisconsin, as goes the world. I guess sort of adjacent to that, what do you think your win would mean for like broader American politics as a whole?
I think our win would mean for this state and this country that the people have power. The people can have a say in who is their representative, and that we need and demand and will have a government that actually puts working class people first. I think it will show that we will take on corruption, that we can beat the elite, and that folks will realize that maybe having a single mom, a chef, a proud renter, and legislator as governor, I think we're going to do some pretty amazing things together.
I'm a student at UW-Madison. I live in Madison primarily. I want to thank you, first of all, for everything you've already done and said regarding what happened to tragedy with Ruiz on Ruby Baldwin. And of course, it's not an isolated incident. Systemic racism in the police force is absurd, and I would like to know what you are planning on doing to help fight systemic racism in the police.
I'm deeply committed and serious about public safety. And I think that we have neglected to invest in the things that we know keep communities safe. Investing in our schools, great out-of-school programs, making sure people have access to good jobs, mental health care services, and benefits. And I think that when we are fighting systems of punishment, we have to make sure we're building up systems of care. I'm following that case in conversations with local government and have been demanding accountability and justice. That it's important for folks to know that as someone who believes in the rule of law, we investigate every murder to make sure that there is justice for the victims. And when we build up a Wisconsin that truly does care for all people, that's it. That's when we're all going to be safer too. All right, folks, so we are 3 days away from E-Day. We've got canvases happening all across the state. I told y'all that we've knocked over 130,000 doors. We're trying to hit 200,000. So if you go to francescahong.com/GOTV, you can find canvassing shifts in your communities, phone banking, text banking, and we need you to hone up these skills because we're going to need it in the general as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.